Imagine you have an idea, and the idea is an app, and probably you say, "Yeah, I got the idea, but I don't have the means because I don't have the money, I don't have the tech skills." And we have an expert on the matter here today who's going to tell you how to make it happen. Hello and welcome, Amanda Spann.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for taking the time, and we're getting straight into the interview. So, when you wrote this book, I have an app idea, and very important, we see at the very top it says, "I can do it. I can do it without tech skills." What was your motivation, the core motivation to write this book and giving people an idea how to get their app out there, even if they are not techies?
For sure. I mean, my path starts with lived experience. Over a decade ago, I was thinking about building an app, but I didn't have much money. I wanted to pursue entrepreneurship, and I thought that apps were the best way to pursue entrepreneurship globally and make it a product available to everyone on the planet without having a ton of capital. And so I started building and started tinkering. I self-taught myself how to build apps, but my road was a little rocky at first. I lost $40,000 building my first app, just not
Hmm.
knowing what I didn't know. And this is with me having more experience in the tech space than most people know. I'm not a coder. However, I was working in tech and I was pretty knowledgeable about like a lot of the terminology. But I built a framework because I'm like, this thing can't happen again. I can't possibly lose $40,000 again trying to build
Hmm.
an app. So I built a framework that allowed me to rinse and repeat how to build an app. And as I did it, I got better at building apps. So the next app only took me about 2 months to build,
Hmm.
right? And less than $1,000 because I got learned a lot of lean and agile methodologies. Simultaneously, as I was getting better at building apps, I started getting letters and emails from people all over the world saying, "Hey, Amanda, I have an app idea, but I don't know where to start. You're
Hmm.
the only person I know who has an app. Someone referred me to you. They thought you would be able to help." It wasn't until I started getting letters from incarcerated people, I started thinking, if I put this information out there, if I put my framework out there, how might I change the trajectory of some people's lives? Also, I was kind of seeing people lose their life savings, and spend years of their life trying to build a product,
Hmm.
unsuccessfully. And I started thinking this is a much bigger issue than people want to acknowledge, and that I really need to get this information out there so that people are able to turn their skills into software and do it without breaking the bank or using losing years of their life.
Yeah, brilliant. So when you say that people don't need to do any coding, and people still say, I just don't know where to start, where should they start?
So they should start with a problem, right? What I always tell people is that you need a problem that people are willing to pay money to solve, right? So let's
Hmm.
start there, right? Sometimes we think problems are, high level or something that is pressing, but they really are more like, vitamin level problems versus oxygen level problems. Like someone can opt out of taking their vitamins every day, but we all need oxygen, right? So
Hmm.
we want problems that feel so pressing that people will give you money to solve the problem for them. I think the second thing people need to think about is market size. Um, you know, let's say you are selling apps for 99 cents each, right? That's a lot different. You need a lot more users and a lot bigger market than if you were to sell like yachts, for example.
Hmm.
Yachts
True.
might
Yeah.
$1 million each. And so if
Yeah.
you only need to sell two or three of them per
And
year.
you're done, probably. Yes.
You're done.
Yeah.
You're done, right? And so you have to think about, okay, if I'm solving a problem in a digital format, I need a problem that's pressing that people will pay me money for. And if I could only charge them 99 cents, I need a lot of people to have this.
Mm.
And so I think that's the first way to think about the problem. Now, as far as anyone being able to build an apps, I think we are in the best era ever for building a startup. However, that comes with some caveats, right? I don't want you guys to fall for these, I won't call them scammers, right? But these people who are luring you into the idea that like you could just hop on a platform and crank out an app.
Do your
Um,
own online class, and then you have passive income. During the night,
right,
you're going to make 1 million in 3 months. I made 10 million. I'm going to
right.
show you how you, yeah, we all know
Don't
these kind of snake or snake
Don't
or salt
do not
salespeople.
fall for that, guys. Now, here's the reality of things. You can build an app with platforms like agentic platforms or what we call vibe coding platforms, where you can use plain text language the way you write it into, a LLM, like a chat GPT, type in your prompts and be able to build software with that. However, that comes with, some caveats and some things you should know. What I tell people is to measure their expectations. And what this looks like is that you may be able to go into these platforms and build maybe 40 to 60% of that app, but you
Hmm.
still probably need to hire a developer to round out that app, to finish some customized features, and to get it to the app store. Now, in my book, we talk a lot about these steps and how you can navigate them. But ultimately, what this centers around is how you can explore these development paths, what you should anticipate, and also who you should bring in to support you with execution, right? It's 40 to 60% of building an app is tremendous, right? That will save you tens of thousands of potential dollars. Where a few years ago we didn't have that luxury. So now we have tools, right? But I look at it in the same way as we have apps and AI are tools, right? In particular, AI and how people are using AI to build apps. If AI is a tool, think of it in the same way as you think of a toolbox. You can get the most expensive toolbox on the market, but that doesn't make you a general
When
contractor.
it comes to DIY, I know exactly what you're talking about right here. I purchased these toolbox and it didn't make it any better what I produced there.
Exactly. You can watch the YouTube videos, but that doesn't teach you all the foundations of contracting. It
Yeah.
doesn't also doesn't teach you necessarily how to run a general contracting business or to how to know how to do home renovations at scale. And so, there's still a foundational education that I encourage all entrepreneurs to get. Now, there are some simple apps that you can build with these vibe coding tools, but for the vast majority of people who want to build scalable startups, or even enterprise level startups, you likely have to pull someone in, but you don't have to bear the brunt of the cost you did 10 years ago.
Mm. Excellent. So when now people say I might be able to build an app, however, I just think in these app stores, there are probably hundreds of thousands of apps. So probably the app store either doesn't like me or I'm not going to be found. How do I overcome this app store I am just one of many others kind of feeling?
I think again, it starts with that problem and identifying a problem that people are willing to pay money to solve. So let's start there, right? One is just having something that people want will help you stand out in the market. And oftentimes, people are building things that they have not validated, right? They have not tested with the market to know if people really want it and they're willing to put money towards paying it. And so sometimes that starts with the validation. I find that a lot of money is lost in the app development process in the ideation stage. People don't do enough market research and they don't study their consumer enough to know what they want and how they want it, right?
Mm.
So after you do that, you follow the kind of four-step framework that's listed in my book. So ideation, right? Let's take some time to research our consumers, to figure out what product they want and to package it in a way that it is actually a business, not just an expensive hobby. Then we want to design for that audience, right? We want to deliver it to them in a way that they can receive it and in a way they like to make purchases. Then we want to
Mm.
best development path for us, whether that be vibe coding or working in a more traditional sense with an agency or a freelancer. And lastly, and this is the part that you're getting at as far as marketing and setting yourself apart in the app store, is that you need to learn how to market and manage that investment. That means, putting it in the right stores for your audience. It means investing in what we call App Store Optimization or ASO, right? And ensuring that visibility and that you have the right keywords and the content so that people can find you. And then lastly, making sure you're iterating on that app. So as you get feedback and you find out more things about, what people want and don't want as they experience your app, making those iterations and pivots so that you can have product market fit.
Mm. Excellent. What do you tell people? Because I saw, of course, because with this podcast, I receive roughly 300 pitches a month of people who want to be on the podcast, and yours really stood out. So you really know how to communicate. Now, some
Mhm.
people might say, hey, you got a Bachelor of Arts, a Bachelor of Science, and on top of that, an MPS, professionally qualified and all of that. And some people say, look, I have an idea, but I'm not really a salesperson. I'm not really a marketing person. I have an idea, but this whole speak to the outside world is just really awkward to me. I don't know how to do that. How should these people overcome either this idea or the concept where they think maybe I'm just not cut out for this?
I think domain expertise is a new technical edge. I mean, I think with all things being equal now, with AI, more AI, no code and low code tools, you have an advantage having experience as an everyday innovator. I encourage and I teach people who are teachers, who are doctors, who are lawyers, who are nonprofit leaders, who are social workers. Those people are closest in proximity to problems, right? If you've spent 20 years being a social worker, you know what bottlenecks are in those industries. You know where the problems are better than any kid in Silicon Valley or at uni right now,
Mm.
right? You know that very, very intimately. We just need to put you in a position with resources like my book, and there's a variety of resources online as well, but resources like that to upskill you on the foundations of product development, right? Because once you understand the product and how to navigate this and how to think strategically about building a product, we now have the tools in this day and age to support you in executing, right? It's just about taking that first step to investing in your education and understanding these things first ahead of spending your time or spending your money or wasting your time.
Mm. Excellent. Well, now people think, of course, they're going to buy the book. That goes without question. But when they say, I think Amanda is going to be really helpful, maybe for my idea, either for coaching or for mentoring me, or maybe as a speaker for our conference, as the last question of this interview, how can people get in touch with you?
Absolutely. You can reach me at amandaspann.com. You can find the book at ihaveanapidea.net. It's also sold everywhere online. I'm happy to do workshops. I also have an online school called the App Accelerator. It is a training program based on the book. It's a 15-week training program, but it is meant to take you through those 4 steps. And it has a variety of resources. I tried to consolidate everything a non-technical founder might need ahead of building an app so that, again, they don't waste their time or lose any money. The program has spread to 102 universities here domestically in the
Wow.
United States, and we've been endorsed by Robert F. Smith. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
Of
he
course.
is a billionaire and famous for Vista Equity Partners, and so he has described the program as a bridge to opportunity. And so I would encourage people to start with the book, but if you need additional support, where we do virtual coaching, and you want some additional training and tutorials, consider the program in the future for you.
I think these are the perfect final words. When you have an app idea, you know what to do. And of course, you know who to get in touch with. So, Amanda Starr, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.